Okay, this main stage. Yes, there we have one of our partners that we work already for a couple of years with. That's Yardi. So it's great to have you, Neal, together with us.
Hey, Walter, thanks so much for inviting us. Great to be here this afternoon.
How are things these days?
Things are pretty good overall, I have to say, and kind of enjoying the last few days of perhaps warmer weather in Amsterdam before we wind the clocks forward and go into more of an autumn type of weather.
Yeah, well, playing the guitar a lot during these COVID times?
I am an inspirational guitarist. I won't bore you with the further details.
Okay, I will give the stage to you. I don't know, do you have any slides to share?
I do have a few slides to share, and I am just working on ensuring that I can share those. Just one moment, I'll be ready to go.
Yes.
And I think we're there.
Yes. Yeah, I see them. Yeah, that's very good. So I see your slides, I see you, and I hear your voice, so that's working.
Great, fantastic. Well, thanks everyone again for having us on. We're happy to be here. These are always inspirational events to us in terms of just the knowledge that we can share and listing. I thought it was a fascinating presentation from Robert at Prologis. They're such a leader in the global industrial space and have been for so many years. And it's really interesting to hear as to what they're doing from an automation point of view and building turnkey type of platforms to enable the changing focus of overall industrial and logistics space. A little bit about myself. I'm the International VP for Yardi Systems. Yardi is a global provider of real estate software and has been for the last four decades. I want to touch a little bit on how technology addresses things that primarily the investor and the owner operator, i.e. the landlord, needs to address. And the first thing is echoing against things that Robert said, is that digitization of global e-commerce or commerce overall continues to really shape everything that we're doing. I think an interesting note would be is that COVID and the influence of COVID has certainly accelerated that. It's put into motion this awareness that organizations need to be able to service their customers, and customer being defined in different ways online. And that's really driven the fact that logistics has changed in terms of what logistics has traditionally been defined as, and also in terms of how customers and users need to cooperate with each other. And so in almost a snapshot would be is an online presence is no longer optional for organizations. Investing in real estate, investing in technology is not an option anymore. It has to be done. And those who don't aggressively invest in digital transformations, I think will be left behind and won't be competitive in the future. Given the presentation from Robert, I won't go and try to explain what logistics is, as he did just a great job at that. Just a few points that I want to bring up, and just examples again that logistics is changing. And so traditionally, many would think of industrial space and logistics space are those big warehouses that primarily sit outside of town. And they're generally occupied by one or two very large type of tenants. In this type of an example, by which it becomes then that central hub that might get distributed directly back into customers. And what we very much see is that the view of what logistics and industrial is continues to be defined and redefined, I would say, based on market dynamics. One of those big changes would be is just the focus on last mile type of logistics. So it's increasingly ensuring that warehouses are closer to that last mile, that last point of closeness to a individual, a customer, whether it be a consumer, whether it be another business, but ensuring that the proper facilities are certainly in place. And this then also drives the overall volume of different types of logistics centers and warehouses and facilities that are available. A nice and interesting offshoot of that, and perhaps a term that people have heard in the past, is this concept of ghost kitchens or dark kitchens. This might be a new term for some. It's an example of a kitchen that would be used by multiple different groups to be able to enable that last mile for Deliveroo, or you name your local online delivery service so that those kitchens could be closer to the consumer. And this is another form of industrial space. It's just an industrial kitchen that multiple people would have. And if you then can relate to the different types of storage and facilities and other components that need to be in these facilities, it adds another level of complexity for clients. On the Yardi side, we very much focus on designing tools and delivering software solutions that are focused around, again, the investor and the landlord. I'll focus on the landlord for a moment. And a consequence of COVID too is to really understand whether a landlord's tenants are going to continue to be of value and be able to operate based on different economic conditions. We've seen an influx of requests, and our clients have, in terms of the request for deferrals, to terminate leases early, to get abatements and other things. And so this idea of having a platform that allows our clients and the landlords to be able to better plan, both in terms of space management, in terms of the economics of space and the offers that they can provide to their tenants and their customers in turn, is critical. So here's an example of 4 key elements of ensuring that an asset manager of industrial and the different forms of industrial really needs to be able to take focus. And that's one is having clear understanding of their current customers and the health of their current portfolio, the health of these customers, i.e. in simplistic terms, the leases. And at the same time then really is understand the deals. So net new opportunities, net new leases, net new tenants, renewals that are coming about, and take that into account in the forecasts. And the forecasts, as people increasingly need to budget not only once a year, but do budgets and forecasts on a recurring basis, both quarterly down to monthly, and maybe even more frequently than that, having a very tightly integrated platform that allows these key functions to collaborate more effectively. And then, of course, construction. So in terms of what's the status of the capital projects that I have ongoing, how do I need to convert some of my existing space, my existing buildings, to be more aligned to the needs of customers today. This just drives tremendous amount of complexity. And again, as one goes through traditional big industrial spaces that had minimum number of tenants, because they take, again, a large amount of space to last mile, what we've certainly seen is the number of tenants that our landlords are dealing with dramatically increases, and this puts a lot of operational stress on their overall capabilities. And so this then really drives this need and this better desire for fully connected asset management systems. And that's something that we provide. And again, it's the ability to then really properly see tenant health and then also be able to manage that entire process through, by which the leasing cycle, or in terms of the productivity of an asset, starts with the leasing cycle, making sure that you have the right tenant in the right spot for the right duration, for the right economics, and then build that all the way through the process to be able to look at stakeholder returns, investor returns, and vice versa. So fully connected systems increasingly in a digital world is just super important, as assets are not only in a single jurisdiction, but across multiple jurisdictions and on a global basis. And finally, we would just say again is reiterate the fact that technology is more important than ever, that this is an area that if individuals and companies have not heavily invested at, it's more important to do this than ever. And we've seen through COVID is that organizations who are not properly digitized their infrastructure, is that they are getting left behind. It's been more difficult for them to operate, as everyone has had to move to a largely impacted work from home strategy, at least for a period of time. So it's been interesting to watch in terms of how innovation often comes through disruption, and it provides very much of an opportunity to improve one's IT platforms, but also really drive efficiencies from an operational role, and then drive better stakeholder value and provide differentiation in terms of how customers, in this case tenants, are serviced. So with that, I wanted to say thank you. That's a quick keynote from our side and some thoughts. If you'd like some more information about Yardi, please contact us at yardi.com. And here's my email address if you'd also like to reach out. Walter, again, thanks so much for having us. We also look forward to participating in the panel session in a few minutes.